talking earlier just about the process and the journey. And obviously there's a lot of people that, building their online business and, going through that. What would you say, like for you looking back, and for what would you say for people, like the journey in terms of like how would you look at the journey? What are the challenges, the struggles of an entrepreneur? Obviously you're in a very different place now where you've made it to the other side of that, but it's not easy to make that decision to build a business, because it does require a change in your life, your lifestyle, your habits, where you spend your time. There's sacrifices and trade-offs that you make. What would you say about that?
Yeah, I mean, when I talk to young entrepreneurs, I always kind of forewarn them that the beginning is always the hardest, because there's a lot of decisions that you have to make in the beginning, and then there's a lot of action without reward, and that's difficult because we're used to putting in the work and seeing, with a normal job, which we're all conditioned, most of us have had normal jobs, so we're putting in the hours today and we're going to get paid for that. There's a reward every 2 weeks for the time that we're putting in. And when you start your own business, there's a lag. There's a period of time where you're putting in a lot of action and you're making sacrifices to dedicate time to working on the business. Socially, maybe you're not seeing your friends as much. You're sacrificing certain things in your life so that you can have the time to work onto your business, and you're not seeing that payoff immediately. And maybe it takes months, it can be a while, and you have to have faith and trust that the results will show up. And so for myself, when I was starting my business, I had a lot of confidence in the process because I was able to gather references. And I think having references are really important. References as in other people that you've seen that have created that kind of success. For example, for me, I was building the Amazon business, and I met a lot of people at the amazing conferences who are making like $500,000 a month, incredible sales. I was like, I can't imagine making that much money, and just seeing how successful they've become. And they started at ground zero, or, I just had a lot of, you were a reference for me too. You were making money online. I'd never met someone before who was making money working from their computer. I had only known people who had regular jobs. So for me, I had a lot of confidence in the process. And I think you need to have that confidence in order to be putting in all this work without seeing any payoffs immediately. But the beginning part is difficult because there's a lot of things that you have to try before you see results. Yeah. As I alluded to before, you're probably going to fail multiple times. You're going to do something, it's not going to work out, or you make mistakes, and you have to push forward. You have to you fall down, you get back up, because it's after those failures that you start to see some successes based on the experience that you've learned. So I think that the beginning part is really difficult, mentally difficult, I would say. Yeah. And also like setting up the foundation for your business can be extremely strenuous, and just a lot of different hats that you have to wear. You have to be the marketer, you have to be the content creator, you have to be the designer, you have to learn how to do copywriting, you have to learn how to do social media. Like there's just a lot of different things that you have to learn how to do, and it feels very overwhelming in the beginning. But when instead of seeing it as something that you don't really want to do, you see it as, wow, it's an opportunity for me to grow. It's an opportunity for me to learn all these different things. And, once I make enough money in my business, I can outsource those things. But by learning these things first, I now have a baseline of knowledge that when I hire someone, I can verify if what they're doing is correct. You don't want to just outsource things and not really know if the person's doing a good job or not. So all of that is the beginning parts of building a business. And that is just, it's difficult. And that's why a lot of people don't become successful, because they give up. Yeah, and I think that, but with time, once you start to gain success, you gain momentum. Momentum is super powerful because it also motivates you. It gives you that sense of drive and purpose and energy to continue on. And for me, once I started to make money on Amazon, it's just like, that first 50 grand was the hardest, and then it just compounded. It's like 50 went to 100 real quick, 100 went to 200 real quick. So it's like getting the business off the ground is the most challenging part. And that's when people really need the most encouragement and motivation and mental stamina to kind of get through those early stages.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, they think originally that's going to be a lot easier than it actually is. They don't realize how challenging and hard it is. And, when you first get into it, you're not aware of all the things you're going to have to learn and do, and the ups and the downs and the failures and all of that. But I think in some ways, if you were to look at it, going into it, how hard it is, like, for example, if I, now knowing what I know and what I've been through, if I was like on the other side starting again, like, yeah, like it's kind of useful to be naive and ignorant to how hard it is, because if you knew how hard it is, you might not even start, you might not even do it. Right.
Yeah.
And so in some ways, like, you have to be aware that it's going to be a journey, and it might not happen as easily or quickly as you expect. But I think really what it comes down to, like, you really know who is going to make it or not. Like, you can kind of always tell, like, you can tell based on their mindset, how committed they are, how serious they are about this. And
how many excuses they have.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a big,
There's many
that's a big
people I think
tell.
that casually get into an online business. Oh, it's going to be easy. I saw Tatiana Stefan on YouTube. Oh, of course, they're super successful. I could do that. How hard could it be? Right. And they get into it, they buy a course, and then they're like, oh, damn, like, I have to change my life. I have to spend hours every week doing this. I have to, like, make sacrifices in my life. I've got to invest my money. I need to learn all these other skills that I didn't know I had to learn. But that's just the reality of any business, right? And
Yeah.
an online business is no different. So you just, what it comes down to is like, how bad do you want this, the life that is available, the success, the freedom, all of that. And for me, that's what kept me going. That's what kept you going, is that we just knew that this was going to be worth it, and it was worth it. And I didn't care what I had to go through, what I had to learn, the ups and the downs, everything that I learned, every experience that I had, I just always felt like I'm getting there closer and closer and closer. And the valuable part for me, I think, was always exposing myself to content, books. I mean, there wasn't many like more success self-help books, but going to events and seminars. Like, when you go to these seminars, these events and these masterminds, like, you get so inspired. You're like, wow, amazing. Like,
Yeah.
that person's living that life, that's what's possible here. So, like, going to these environments, and it becomes more real for you every time you do that. And I can't tell you how many courses that I went through, but every course, like, I always got excited with something that I learned that I could apply, because I saw the possibility of everything that I was learning. I saw the possibility of what it could lead me to and what it could create. And so I think, like, if you really get into the world, you really can get very inspired, and you get, like, you kind of get conditioned and programmed by it too, like the mindset of success and the mindset of freedom. And there's obviously a huge internet marketing, online business, entrepreneurial community of people that think a certain way. And there's all the content of people talking about success and freedom and all of that. You really get consumed by that, and that also just kind of fuels you to keep going.
Yeah.
But the initial part is difficult, the changes you have to make in your life, but it's just the reward and the results and the life that you can create that just keeps you going.
And you just believe in that.
Yeah.
I think that the key, there's, my tell for when someone's really going to pull it off is the mental, the position that they hold. I can always tell when someone comes to me and they are complaining about all the things that they don't know how to do to build this business. So when I used to do coaching, I get people who would say, like, well, I don't know how to create social media content. I don't know how to do paid advertising. I don't know how to do copywriting. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do, like, just all these I don't knows. And I could always tell, okay, this person doesn't have the mindset of success. Because to me, the mindset of success is seeing all the things that you don't know how to do, but instead of seeing them as obstacles, you see them as opportunities. You say, wow, what an opportunity it is for me to learn something new. And also realizing that I can learn this because there's an abundant amount of resources out there for me, most of them free. And when I learn how to do this, I've now grown as a human being. I have a new skill set, and this skill set will only serve me in the future, not just with my current business. But I had just one example for you. When I was building my Amazon business and I was all, getting popular on YouTube, I had this company in Canada that reached out to me, a big company. They wanted me So they were transitioning from just selling their products in physical stores to now doing online retail. And they wanted to hire me and pay me a great salary and give me my own personal assistant to move all their products online and to like, push them on Amazon. And, I didn't go to university. Why was I going to get paid such a great salary? I didn't get any formal training. All I did was just learn how to do something myself in my business. And it's a simple skill, but it's a highly valuable skill. And so all the things that I learned in my business, I was always excited to learn them. I was always excited to learn how to do all these little things that now I don't really need to do because I outsource a lot of these things. I pay people to do them because I value my time. But at the beginning, when I didn't have the money to pay people, I learned how to do them myself. And I'm very glad that I learned how to do that because I gained knowledge. And that knowledge is what created the success in my business. So that's the kind of mindset you really need to adopt. Stop making excuses that I don't know how to do this, I don't know how to do that. Well, freaking learn how to do it. There's a million resources out there for you. And if you really want success, you'll stop saying, I don't know how.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you have to adapt and continue to learn. That's, again, it comes down to the growth mindset and the growth mentality that you have to have.